to go to war. Let's listen.
Personnel into Iraq as trainers, advisors, logistical support. They would support that? Iran would support that?
Well, they're not going to come out and openly support it, and they obviously would be nervous about it, but they're not going to object if that's what it is. But the point is, you have bigger problems than that with that particular scenario, because the Shia militia within Iraq might have something to say about it. Muqtada al-Sadr, Hadi al-Amri, other people might obviously react very adversely to that. But what's important, Senator, with respect to your question, is to understand this. And I think this has been a misread by a lot of people up here on the Hill, to be honest with you. There is no grand bargain being discussed here in the context of this negotiation. This is about a nuclear weapon potential. That's it. And the President has made it absolutely clear they will not get a nuclear weapon. Now, the presumption by a lot of people up on the Hill here has been that we somehow aren't aware of that goal, even as we negotiate that goal. Our negotiation is calculated to make sure they can't get a nuclear weapon. And it's really almost insulting that the presumption here is that we're going to negotiate something that allows them to get a nuclear weapon.
Well, I haven't discussed about the nuclear weapon, but and I'm not saying there's a grand bargain. What I'm saying is that I believe that our military strategy towards ISIS is influenced by our desire not to cross red lines that the Iranians have about U.S. military presence in the region.
Absolutely not in the least.
Okay.
There's no consideration whatsoever as to how they or anybody else, we will do what is necessary in conjunction with our coalition. Remember, we have 62 countries, including
well, I want to talk about the coalition.
5 Sunni countries that for the first time ever are engaged in military action in another country in the region.
Well, and that's why I want to touch on that point, because General Dempsey a moment ago outlined the need to have a broad coalition that I imagine involves these Sunni countries, for example, the Jordanians, the Saudis, the UAE, and others. These are also countries, by the way, that are deeply concerned about Iran. And they feel, is it not right that they feel that we've kept them in the dark about our negotiations with Iran? In essence, the way we've proceeded with our negotiations in Iran have impacted our trust level with these critical allies in this coalition.
Senator, that actually is flat wrong, also. Flat wrong.
They said so publicly.
It's flat wrong. I just came back from a meeting in the Gulf in Riyadh. I met with King Salman, who completely supported what we're doing. I met with all of the GCC members. They all sat around a table, and they all articulated their support for what we're doing, and they believe we are better off trying to prevent them from getting a bomb diplomatically first, providing, of course, that it actually prevents them from getting that bomb. That's the test of this. And a whole bunch of people are trying to give this a grade before the test has even been taken.
So you're saying here today that our allies in the region, our Sunni allies, the Saudis, the UAE, the Egyptians, and others, are perfectly comfortable with where the negotiations stand at this moment?
I did not say that. They are not perfectly comfortable. They're nervous. They're apprehensive. Of course they are. They want to make sure that, in fact, just as members of Congress want to make sure that the deal that is struck, if one can be struck now, will in fact prevent them from getting a weapon.
Have you shared with them the details of where it stands right now?
We've shared considerable details with them, absolutely.
And are they apprehensive about that, or are they comfortable with what you shared with them?
They're comfortable with what we shared with them, and Saud al-Faisal, the senior foreign minister in the world, I might add, publicly sat with me at a press conference in which he articulated their support for what we're doing.
Okay, General Dempsey, I want to